Sean Dyche is back. Ange Postecoglou has had one of the worst runs of a new manager when he took over Nottingham Forest 5 games into the Premier League. 1 draw and 4 losses with no victories in Europe either. The club's owner Marinakis has sacked him 19 minutes after the game against Chelsea ended in a 3-0 loss at home. What led to this was a terrible chance conversion rate from the Forest attackers, coupled with 15 goals conceded in just 8 games this season. After sacking Nuno and now Postecoglou, Forest will be on their 3rd manager just 8 games in. What can Sean Dyche bring to this team? I'm thinking aggression, passionate and organized defending, and a level of physicality that's needed to stand out in the Premier League. So let's rebuild Nottingham Forest, who are in the relegation zone, based on Sean Dyche's philosophy. First off, I'm very excited to see Sean Dyche back into the mix as a manager, because for me, I think he's a great character. But hold on a second, something's bugging me. You lose against United, you lose your spot. And since Sean Dyche is not in the game, I picked a manager that looks somewhat like him, just a bit younger. Looking into the starting 11, we can see the issues straight away. Chris Wood, who last season was an incredible striker for this team, has just not been scoring. Gibbs White was supposed to join Spurs. Didn't. People thought that's a good thing, but still, it hasn't helped this team this season. Looking at Ndoye as one of the record signings this year, that is a player you would have maybe expected a lot more out of as well, especially when it comes to goal scoring, which Nottingham Forest have been struggling with. Then you're looking at Elliot Anderson, who has been a standout player in a team that is not necessarily doing as well. And then Murillo and Milenkovic. Everyone was talking about last season when it ended. People said these two have been incredible, possibly the best centre-back pairing in the league after the Arsenal lads. And then Mats Sells, who was in conversation to be the goalkeeper of this season. So you're looking at a team that has done extremely well now last season, outdone their own expectations big time, who are now way below their expectations. I'm just gonna quickly show you something from the last game against Chelsea, which kind of showcases the biggest issue in this team at the moment, and that is they had 2.35 expected goals against Chelsea. Chelsea had 1.67. Chelsea had 4 big chances, and so did Nottingham Forest. Chelsea end up scoring 3 and Forest scoring 0. So clearly, it's not just a defensive issue, it's also the attack. And this team is lacking confidence. Since we are in the month of October already, Sean Dyche, when he does come in, cannot make any transfers. He has to work with what is available right now. In my opinion, Milenkovic is going to be the main man that he's going to trust in. He loves a tall, physical centre-back, and Milenkovic being 6'5" and as good as he can be, I think that's going to be the leader for him, just like Tarkowski was for him at Burnley and then at Everton as well. And if Ole Aina comes back from his injury soon enough, the defense might be looking better anyways. The formation Nottingham have been using is a 4-2-3-1 so far. But when it comes to Sean Dyche, the 4-4-2 formation is what saved him multiple times over at Burnley. It's the formation that he loves to go to when he wants stability within the squad. And we're just gonna go with it. 4-4-2 it is, with 2 holding midfielders, hopefully sorting out the issues of this team. In terms of tactics, we can go with a counter-attacking playstyle and a deep defensive approach, allowing us to hoof the ball up top to Chris Wood and build from there with winning the second ball. So Chris Wood is going to be the target forward, and Morgan Gibbs-White, who I'm going to turn into a striker, is going to be playing in the false 9 role, allowing to drop a little bit deeper and help support the team in build-up towards the attack. Now, technically, a big strength of this Nottingham Forest team, on paper, is the fact that we have amazing backups: Kalimuendo, Igor Jesus, Hutchinson, Bakwa, McAtee, and Dominguez and Yates and Morato. And on top of it, once the injured Douglas Luiz and Ole Aina come back into the squad, we're going to look a lot stronger. So by the time January comes, a lot could change for this team under Sean Dyche. By the way, I think I failed to mention this so far. Chris Wood was with Sean Dyche at Burnley from 2017 to 2022. So he knows exactly how to get the best out of him. And I truly do believe Chris Wood is going to start scoring again like he did last season for this team when the formation changes to something that he feels more comfortable with, something that he's familiar with, because clearly something hasn't worked out this season. Going into January, I feel like it's very important we give a bunch of playtime to players who won't be playing for us at all. So I have sent out on loan Savona, McAtee, Hutchinson, and Jair Cunha, to get the best out of these youngsters down the line, possibly. Hutchinson specifically, it's a bit of a tough one now because he's a center-attacking midfielder, and we play in a 4-4-2. We'll have to prioritize how the team does over trying to fit in players like Hutchinson just because they're talented. It wasn't much we could salvage from this season, as we are in the 15th position with 1 game to go, and we are clear of the relegation zone. So we're not going to get relegated, which is a good thing, right? But Nottingham Forest in that 15th spot, if you asked anyone before the season started, while Nuno was still the coach, they would have never thought that this team ends up right there. But why am I showing you the league table with 1 game to go? Because something incredible happened in the Europa League. We finished 9th, which meant we had to go through playoffs. We beat Salzburg. Then round of 16, we beat Lille. In the quarterfinals, we've beaten Porto to now face the likes of Aston Villa. 4-2 victory against them. And now I'm going to step into a Europa League final against Fenerbahce, which is just insane. Like, this makes absolutely no sense. The fact that we're 15th in the Prem, but still part of the finale here. If I can win this, this would be an amazing start for Sean Dyche. And well, here is his squad. Wood is on that 81. Gibbs White has gone up to an 81 now as a striker. Initially, when I turned him into a striker, he dropped to like a 77, 78, whatever. Now we're also seeing a bit of a battle going on between Ndoye and Bakwa for that right midfield position. Bakwa has been great there. We have some great backups for these spots at the moment. Hudson-Odoi is chilling on the left. Maybe I should change one of these guys to a left midfielder. Ndoye used to play on the left quite a lot. But defensively, we have Dominguez taken over from Sangare to play alongside Anderson there. The entire defense is above an 80. Nico Williams has gone up now. Ole Aina is back from his injury. Sells is on that 83. And the bench is looking quite decent. And when we go into the individual stats, you'll realize that some people definitely carried. Chris Wood, 27-1. I actually changed the team's tactics to counter-attacking as well. Not necessarily kick and rush. I've changed it to counter-attacking, and it seems like it has worked. We've gotten an amazing season out of him. Gibbs White gets 30 goal contributions. Bakwa comes up with 28. Definitely has to play for us as a starter over Hudson-Odoi. So can Nottingham Forest, who finished 15th in the Premier League, possibly win a Europa League title in our first season with Sean Dyche? Now, I will admit, I don't necessarily expect Sean Dyche to pull something like this off, but did you see? Chris Wood got the long ball, and from that, we started this beautiful attack. Wood has an impact straight away, and so does Morgan Gibbs-White in his new role as a striker, with 7 goals so far in the Europa League. Bakwa down the right was rapid. He was looking for options down the center, and he finds Wood again, who brings it down to Anderson. Has a big chance to score the second, but this was the technique that we used over and over again. And Gibbs-White now gets an assist as Chris Wood leaps up and scores a header. This is the Sean Dyche way, my friends. This is exactly what Nottingham Forest needs. A club that has a great history is about to win another European trophy, I thought, until that beautiful goal with the left foot came into the far corner. I wish I could take finesse shots like that too. But anyways, here's Chris Wood, and this is Morgan Gibbs-White, making sure that we do go ahead and win 3-1 against Fener right here. And that means a European trophy now for Nottingham Forest, who came 15th in the Premier League. Unbelievable. Now that we have lifted that trophy, it means we're going to play Champions League football next season. And on top of it, we have about 1 billion players who are going to come back from their loan deals as well. So keep that in mind. With Zinchenko's loan expiring, he's the only one that I believe leaves the squad. Something unexpected happened, and it's not an unexpected event from EA. It's the release clause of Murillo. Liverpool have purchased Murillo from our team, the 5'11" Brazilian centre-back with so much potential in him. Has left us now that we have won the Europa League. Now, luckily for this team, we do have Carmo, who used to be a big talent back in the day. Porto then purchased him from Braga, if I'm not mistaken, and things didn't work out for him ever since then. 26 years old, left-footed, so he can go over here onto the left. He's 6'5", he has 3 good play styles, and him being that physical might suit Sean Dyche. So I might actually just give this guy a chance. At the same time, we do have Morato, who also used to be a huge talent over at Benfica, who has been playing left back for Nottingham Forest quite a couple of times in the past. And we do have, hold on, let me go into the squad hub here to show you the youngster Cunha, I believe, who we have out on loan currently, 6'6" tall Brazilian, on loan at Fiorentina. He can come back next season and take over as well. So I don't think we need to spend money on a new centre-back. And now, after a great season and giving us the Europa League trophy, Chris Wood is returning to Leeds United for 18 million as he starts dropping down in his ratings. Rather than letting him rot on the bench, I want him to have a good time over at Leeds. And it's okay, because we do have Calimuendo who can come in as a striker into this team, or Igor Jesus. Now, the issue with this is, it doesn't really fit into the Sean Dyche way of playing. He needs a tall striker up top in this 4-4-2 formation to have the big man, little man, or big man and runner combination that really worked out for him a lot over the time. So Calimuendo being 5'10", and Igor Jesus being 5'11", I think I need someone tall up there to truly have this be a Sean Dyche team. And you've seen in the first game that we played, crosses played a big role. And boy, have I found the one. Emega from Strasbourg, or Chelsea B. So far, 4 games in, 2 goals, 2 assists for his side. And him being able to assist is big as well. I need the striker to be able to connect with the other players. And I've put Calimuendo into this deal because in real life, Igor Jesus actually has gotten a little bit more play time. So I have put Calimuendo into this deal to make it happen. And it was a cheap one. So Igor Jesus goes down to the bench and becomes our top backup, I guess. So let's do this. And that way, we have a 6'5" tall striker with 90 pace, 80 physicality, and 3 very good play styles along the enforcer, which is, again, a thing that Sean Dyche will love, a physical player. So I think we're doing a great job so far. Him being 23 years old is perfect as well for a long-term project that we're trying to build over here. And I do know, with Ange Postecoglou, we did do a takeover of him and a rebuild of Nottingham Forest. This team is going to be completely different, I can tell you that much. And even though we have some high-value players in this team being built up, we don't have to sell anyone because we have won the Europa League. These players see that this project might be going somewhere. With Donnarumma now signing for Manchester City and being the clear number 1, Trafford needs a new home. This youngster should not be rotting on the bench, and we want to bring him in to be Matt Sells' long-term replacement. At least over here, there is a little bit of a feeling like, okay, he can take over very soon compared to Donnarumma, who's still pretty young, I guess, compared to Sells. And yeah, this is the signing that I needed to make. He comes in with a 79 rating, Englishman, 6'4", with 4 really good play styles for a goalkeeper. And Sells being 34 years old, he's going to start dropping down. As soon as Trafford overtakes him in the stats, he becomes our starting goalkeeper. And that's something that guy definitely wants. And by the way, yes, Trafford used to play for Burnley, but at a time where Sean Dyche was not there. As we go into the new season, Douglas Luiz obviously is or should be a Nottingham Forest player. But in my opinion, he just does not fit into a Sean Dyche team. I just don't see it happening, especially with Elliot Anderson there. So, the partner to a player like Elliot Anderson, who can play deeper in midfield but also carry the ball forward, needs to be someone that can be a bit more physical, the enforcer of that midfield. Now, Dominguez is a decent option, but long-term, I kind of lean towards Samu Costa here. He comes in for Yates plus about 20 million. He is 79 rated, and the reason why I brought him in, Dominguez 5'10", Anderson 5'10". Both of these guys are a bit smaller for a CDM that can really enforce himself into this onto our opponents. Now, I'm looking for someone that comes in at 6 foot tall, at least. That was the plan. So Samu Costa, let me just put him onto the bench here, I guess. He comes in at the age of 25 with 81 physicality, 85 aggression, which is exactly what I was looking for. I need someone in there that can be that aggressive partner to someone like an Elliot Anderson. If Elliot Anderson moves over to the right CDM position, Costa can take over the left CDM position, but he has to earn it. Dominguez, for now, is the starter. Costa, you will get your chance if you work hard enough. And look at the playstyles. Intercept, aerial fortress, and press proven. I really like those. And this season, I wanted to step up against Newcastle United because I feel like that's the type of team we need to be at least, with Gibbs White being on great form. I mean, the guy has 20 goals in 36 appearances, but look at Mats Sells. He's making some huge saves for us straight away, and that is very important. You need to have that defensive stability, and here goes Emega. He does it just like Chris Wood, but my pass inside is horrible. Long ball to Emega, header over to Gibbs White, and the counter has begun. Gibbs White to Emega again. He hits the post, and it is us going up 1-0 in the 62nd minute. Chris Wood might be gone, but the spirit lives on right here. Openda stopped by Milenkovic. Our defense keeps a clean sheet in this big matchup against Newcastle. Man, Sean Dyche is doing something I didn't expect. I thought he was going to fight against relegation for a couple of seasons, but we find ourselves in the 4th position with 74 points right there. Champions League football is coming in again. Now, obviously, this season, the team did play Champions League football, but we didn't necessarily get too far. Playoffs, yeah, playoffs. Napoli kicked us out 6-4. In the league phase, we came into that 12th position, which is decent enough. But obviously, when it comes to the international stage, we have won the Europa League title. But there's still a long way to go until we can compete for the Champions League or compete for the Premier League. At the top, we do have Arsenal with 79 points. But I think in the upcoming season, the champion is going to have more than that. What I do like, however, is the fact that Emega has settled in really well. Gibbs White has gone up to an 85 rating. We have Anderson on 85. Costa has gone all the way to an 83, overtaking Dominguez, who seems stuck on that 80. But we have really decent backups here as well, which I'm happy with. Trafford up to an 82. Sells is still an 83. So he's still holding on to that position, which is quite impressive. But Trafford's time will come, I guess. Taivo Avoni, his contract ran out. He has left us, so I need a new backup for the tall striking position. It is Viper now joining us from Jurgen Klopp's former side, Mainz. And seems like in our career mode, he moved over to France. But we signed him for 24 million. He is the one that will back up Emega, and he has a 77 rating. He's 6'4" tall, with decent amounts of pace, good shooting, and good physicality. We need to make sure that not just our starting 11 is good, but also the rest of the team. So this is an important signing to make as Avoni is leaving us. Guess what's happening now? It is the Carabao Cup finale for us to play against Arsenal. Let's try and win the 2nd trophy for this great club. And I really wanted to win this. Emega started us off nicely right here. 42nd minute. They come through with Bukayo Saka and Sells, who's still playing for me. Might be his last time, but he could not stop this. 50th minute, Eze just blasts it into the top right corner with an incredible volley. And our team was so stunned that we didn't have a chance to come back into this game, which was quite disappointing. After losing the Carabao Cup final, now we find ourselves back at the Wembley again for a bigger trophy, the FA Cup against Manchester City. The lads need to step up. And, well, it started early. Ole Einar, it's cleared off the line. Gibbs White to Anderson, another cross, and our big centre-back and captain, Milenkovic, just leaps up and scores an incredible header. I've actually now figured out how to score headers on this game, so I'm very happy to see that. Endoy over to Emega. We're through 35 minutes in. Could have been 2-0, but Gibbs White doesn't give up. He wants that 2-0, and he's going to get it on a beautiful Trivela. He just does it without me actually putting the input in with the L2 button. That's something new for me. So Gibbs White scores a beauty. 68th minute, however, they do come through, and Elanga, who used to play for Nottingham Forest and moved to Newcastle United, seems to have moved to Manchester City in our career mode, has scored against us. But we don't stop again. Gibbs White, give me another Trivela. It is 3-1. We beat Manchester City and we lift the FA Cup with Milenkovic holding it up sky high. And so with that massive victory and a 4th position finish in the Premier League with a 15-point gap to the likes of Liverpool. However, Manchester City could still win their next game against Chelsea and possibly win the title, so that could happen. But at the end of the day, what I said was true. Last season, it was 79 points. This time, it's way above 80. So, yeah, we need to get better. We're 15 points off. Our team is performing. I'm not against the performances that we're seeing right now. Obviously, against Arsenal, we didn't succeed. But in terms of growth, we're succeeding. The entire attack and midfield is above 86. Carmo has gone up to an 84. He has actually become an essential player in this team. Aina is up to an 83, but he's 31 years old. I need someone to take over his spot. And also, we do have Nico Williams right here at the age of 27, 83 rated. I think he can be all right in that position, but I feel like I need to put some pressure on them because for every other position, I have great backups, but for the fullback positions, I don't. And Trafford, by the way, now 85 rated, definitely takes over from Sells. And as we go into the individual stats, we'll realize that certain players have performed really well, especially our striker. Emega comes in with 36 and 4, so 40 goal contributions from him. We have, 41 from Gibbs White. We have 30 from Ndoye. Bakwa comes in with 21. Elliot Anderson from CDM comes up with 21 goal contributions. So clearly, things are going into our favor. We also had players like Hutchinson come back. He's on an 82 rating, has had 8 goal contributions seemingly. And let me actually check what happened to the other players because we do have Cunha back, 80 rated. I love that. That is good. Put pressure on Carmo. And Savona is back, 79 rated Italian right back. That does put pressure on Ole Aina, I guess. You know what? I went straight for the next season and we finished 3rd. 77 points. We are 9 points behind Manchester City. We have improved once again, but this time around in the FA Cup, we're not part of it. Carabao Cup, no. Champions League, well, we played through the league phase, came in 4th. In the round of 16, though, Real Sociedad kicked us out, which is a big surprise to me. And at this stage, I obviously want to see our team succeed a lot more. Now, the midfield and attack, once more, look amazing. I mean, Gibbs White has adjusted to this striking position so well. But defensively, Carmo has gone up to an 86. Love that. Milenkovic, 88. Let's go. Trafford as well. Nico Williams up to an 85. Ole Aina on an 84. I think the defense might be the issue that is holding us back in terms of going even further. So with a 32-year-old Ole Aina, I think now is the time to move him on, put him into a deal, and bring in someone that would love to play for a club that qualifies for the Champions League over and over again, has won the Europa League, and he wants to be part of a big team. So with Savona being the backup, we have now time for Aina to be sold and swapped in a deal that really improves this team. And on the bench, by the way, look at that. Cunha up to an 83. I love that. And our top scorer is Gibbs White alongside Emega. Again, great performance for both the wingers and Elliot Anderson on a 91 now. And the right back we're signing is, of course, Tino Livramento. We have finished ahead of Newcastle a bunch of times, and he says, you know what? I want to join you too. But actually, he plays for Chelsea, so forget about that. I had to give them Ole Aina plus 53 million. This is possibly the worst deal I've ever done, and how is that not an F? Honestly, it should have been an F. Anyways, Livramento comes in at the age of 26 and a rating of 86. The play style that is quite useful in jockey for a fullback. I find that very, very useful. So it's definitely an upgrade, but it's not an out-of-the-world upgrade. However, there are not that many right backs in this game that have potential over 86. So this one just made the most sense for me to go after. And with Savona backing him up and putting pressure on, I'm pretty happy with that. I do think this team needs to start winning the Premier League, though. If they don't, Milenkovic might never be able to lift that Champions League trophy or Premier League trophy for us, as he's 31 already. And the Premier League trophy now belongs to Nottingham Forest. Thanks to 80 points this season, which usually shouldn't have been enough, but it was enough this time around as Arsenal, Manchester City and Liverpool struggled to get past 71 points. So I'm very pleased to see that. And I'm also going to show you the FA Cup. The FA Cup has been won by Fulham. Congratulations. The Carabao Cup has been won by Arsenal. So clearly, domestically, away from the Premier League, we haven't done too well. Internationally, we came in 22nd in the Champions League. Had to play through the playoffs, which we just struggled against Atalanta. 4-3 right there. And then in around the 16, we beat Bayern Munich. Slowly, we're gaining momentum, which is pretty impressive. Quarterfinals, we beat Barcelona, Bayern, Barcelona, and Real Madrid, all back-to-back after finishing 22nd in the league phase. This is so impressive to now face the likes of Manchester City in this Champions League finale. City's best player so far in terms of attacking has been Savinho alongside Haaland, and they do have Leo Sawa in their team, who's very talented. 83 rated at this stage for them. Nipan might be playing for this team as well by now. Rodri is still there with the 88 rating. Haaland's probably on like a 92 right there. Ait Nouri is here. They do have a very, very strong squad. And well, luckily, we have a strong squad as well. Emega on a 90. Gibbs White, 91. Bakva as well above the 90. Everyone above the 90 in the midfield and attack. Defensively, Livramento gone up by +2. Milenkovic has gone to a 90 as a 32-year-old. Trafford looks extremely solid. Carmo, who's only loaned out in the first season, came back and revived his career under Sean Dyche here. And Nico Williams has gone up to an 88 rating, which I'm very, very impressed with. And our bench is as solid as it ever could have been. So I'm very excited to take this Nottingham Forest team with the Sean Dyche 4-4-2 formation into a Champions League finale against Manchester City, who probably will line up like this with a 4-3-3 with a defensive Rodrigo, Eder Militao in defense. Mokio is there. On the bench, I see a couple of interesting players as well. So there could be some changes there. But let's take a quick little look into our team's performance. Who could be up for the Ballon d'Or? It is going to be Emega. He's going to win the Ballon d'Or if we do go ahead and win the Champions League trophy. I'm not going to show you the ceremony because the ceremony never really works at the moment on FC26. So hopefully next time the glitch will be fixed. But now it's time to step onto the pitch. Now, what I want to mainly do in this game is truly stick to the Sean Dyche tactics here. So we're going to be utilizing our strikers' physicality. We're going to try and be defensively solid and organized. And the best way to really get the best out of this formation is to run down the right, have Emega make a run towards the far post, whip it over to him, let him jump up and score the header. That would have been beautiful to start off with, but basically that's the plan. Bakva Anderson. Bakva is through again. Dilan Bakva. Now's the moment to cross it. Emega is flying in and taking out Donnarumma, letting him know it's going to be dangerous. You better pay attention. Nice Livramento. Good defensive work from him. And he plays a good pass on top of it. Bakva. Livramento. Inside, I see my striker. Emega jumps up. Header is not accurate yet. His moment will come. Milenkovic, I love it. Bakva to Gibbs White. Now, we need to see something from Gibbs White as well. He's an important part of this team. Gibbs White. Emega wants it. Emega gets it. Emega scores! The true Sean Dyche way. We've actually done it. 34 minutes in, running down the wing and finding the tall, big and strong striker in the center. No chance for Militao right there. He's in the air. The hang time is about 1 second. And no chance for Donnarumma. Is it actually Emega or is it Emecha? Because in Dutch, you pronounce the G as most of the time. So I guess it might be Emecha. Bakva, keep going, son. I'll find you. Don't you worry. Gibbs White finds you. Bakva, Emecha. He goes again. And he scores again. This man has led this team to the Champions League finale, to the Premier League title, and now possibly to another title. Down the right, look at that pass. Exceptional. Bakva, Emecha! It is his third. Manchester City have fallen apart He's celebrating in front of them. Give him the Ballon d'Or already. And now the moment has come. Nottingham Forest are lifting a huge European title once again, as they have done in the past. Sean Dyche, your team has truly adopted your tactics and have now won the biggest trophies of them all. I'm excited. I believe today when this video comes out, it should be official that Sean Dyche is becoming the coach of Nottingham Forest. A big character is returning into Premier League football, and that's always a good thing. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Take care and peace.